Yo guys, how's it going? Just thought we'd jump on and do a little bit of a live stream. Let's watch some Bitcoin charts. Let's watch us move crazy. 9% day here today on Bitcoin. And it just goes to show you how quickly crypto moves. So when you jump in, guys, give me a hell yeah if you're enjoying the Bitcoin charts. Feel free to ask any questions. No agenda for this live stream. Just going to chill, watch the charts. There's been a bunch of videos. If you don't know what's going on today, make sure you get caught up on the 2 uploads I did earlier today explaining exactly what's going on from Biden and also the bailout for SVB. I'm going to post another video later after this live stream. Just chilling with you guys for a bit, then I'll post out a CPI video so you know what's going on. Chillist is in the room. Hope you are well, buddy. So yeah, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you look out for that CPI video. So Bitcoin here, getting a little bit of resistance at 24K, which is quite interesting. Let's see what we got Beyond, good to see you. Shravanan, good to see you, brother, as well. Good. Smash up the likes. Don't forget to ask me any questions you guys have got. Just sitting here watching Bitcoin. Facing a little bit of resistance here at 24,000, but it's bound to happen, right? If we zoom out, let's take a look at the charts and say, okay, what do we expect? Because the reality is, the bit that's going to provide the difficulty is that 25,000 level, right? It's that 25,000 level which we really need to be able to break through. While my trading view is crashing, which is always fun. Let's give that a refresh. Cool. So this is the 25,000 level, the top yellow line there. That's what we need to get through. So I'm all for us kind of consolidating, even if it needs to come down a little bit. Let's bring out the EMA ribbon and see if that helps as well. If it needs to come down into its EMA ribbon, just like it did earlier today, I posted it on Twitter if you guys are following, runs into the EMA ribbon, collects some support, and then runs. So happy for it to kind of come into this kind of range here, 23, 23 and a half even, and then break through 24 and then 25. CPI video is coming out later though, and I do reveal what I think is going to happen. Ian, good to see you. Barney, evening all highlight. Good to see you, buddy. Kieran, good to see you. Beyond Infinity. Chillist, I remember you, buddy. No worries. Dan, good to see you. He goes, let's go. Banks are screwed. Crypto time to shine. Tap Global holding well in the situation. Chile says, I'm in the medical marijuana clinic over here in California. When I get out of this clinic, I'm going to start posting my questions. No worries. Licker says, what a wonderful day. Zach, we should wait for a pullback, boys. Never chase the ball. Good point, Zach. Really good point. Don't chase green. Just be calm. If you've been monitoring the markets like we have for a while, you've been waiting. But even if you're trying to FOMO, there's ways to FOMO, right? Like, even if you're going to FOMO, why FOMO at the top? Like, you know that you're going to get a little bit of a pullback at some point, like you did here. You had a big move here. Pulls in here, at least start practicing trying to buy here at 22,000 versus 22,800. It makes a big difference to your trade. So wait for the leg where it comes down and then ride the next leg up. Let's see what we got here. Questions. Great day. By the way, guys, for those of you just joining, we're just having a chill. We're just having a chill. We're going to watch the charts. Feel free to shout out an altcoin if you want to look at an altcoin. But really, it's Bitcoin led right now, right? It's Bitcoin led. We need Bitcoin to get above 25,000, reclaim that weekly EMA ribbon. But the exciting thing right now, which is why it's okay to be excited right now, is the Fed are forced into a position where it's not just about inflation anymore. They've broken something. They've broken something in their rate hike, and now they need to decide whether to come down this ladder. This is the rate hike cycle we've just been on, right? This is what we've just been through. Now they need to decide, do we need to come back down? Let's take a look at the liquidations as well, because there are definitely a lot of people short. You know, all those ones who were in denial? Like, they're definitely going to get wrecked as well. So let's take a look here. You can see the liquidations. Yeah, there you go. 163 million today, 150 million yesterday, 70 the before. So you're talking the best part of $500 million almost here in liquidations who were short the market. So, you know, this is one of the reasons you don't mess around with Bitcoin. You do not mess around with an asset class that is as volatile as Bitcoin, because you can see here in just we're talking very little time here from the 10th of March when you were sitting here touching 19,500 to now back at 25,000, closing on 25,000, right? Insane. And that's a 25% move. Let's take the measurement move. Yeah, 25% move, right? You're just gonna miss that because you've got this bearish mentality, or somebody on Twitter told you, oh, it's hammer time, it's coming down, watch out. No, the market changes and you get new data every time, right? Last week, we were thinking Jerome Powell might have to do 50 basis points because data wasn't looking good. We kept getting bad Fed macro data. Suddenly overnight, we find out they're breaking banks. Now the situation changes, right? If you're breaking these banks, that's not going to be too fun, is it? Ian says trading halted on a bunch of publicly traded banks, huge moves down. And it's an important message I want to make, actually. Thanks for reminding me, Ian. Like, what we need to understand now is we could be moving towards a bit of a decoupling. So if you look at what happened ever since early 2022, we started really being correlated to the traditional markets, risk on assets, and that's how we're following. But I still think we could see another pain leg in traditional markets. I think they're going to go for the ringer right now. I think there's a lot of banks that could be struggling right now. There'll be other banks who are struggling who just found out that, wait, they're just backing Silicon Valley Bank and they're backing Signature. We might as well collapse now as well. Instead of why are we trying to hang on? We could protect our depositors now and just exit and say we failed, right? So I think there's a lot more going on than meets the eye. I think they have broken stuff. I think the Fed have got it wrong, evidently. We find out over the last couple of days. And I think this is, over the macro viewpoint, a better thing for Bitcoin, right? Because it reminds us that Bitcoin is the antithesis to traditional finance. It reminds us that when all these banks fail and you can't keep your money safe, where was the best place to put your money? Bitcoin. Not stable coins. Don't get it mixed up with stable coins. If you're in USDC, you're not in crypto. I'm going to emphasize that point in a second. If you're in USDC, you're not in crypto. That's a centralized stable coin. It's a utility. It's like an exchange. If your money's in Binance, you're not in crypto, right? Crypto is taking ownership of your money. It's holding Bitcoin and holding it yourself in cold storage or even a software wallet, but your keys, right? And that's the thing that's proven. Everything else is a money grab around it. And you can use it when it's useful for you. I use stable coins. I use exchanges, of course. I need it to be able to navigate. But at the end of the day, what's the one asset that's the antidote to all the bad practices we've seen in traditional finance? That is the native crypto. It's Bitcoin, first and foremost. Then you can argue Bitcoin and the other altcoins, but Ethereum and the other altcoins, but they're all far more risky than Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the one that's proven. That's the one that's secure, and been through the ringer, right? And so we've got to remind ourselves when we get peak kind of FOMO, we forget what the mission is. And that's what the mission is right now. And banks failing, long term, like, obviously I feel bad for depositors and everybody else, even though they've been backed, so we should be fine with that. But, that's the reminder. When these banks are collapsing and you've got nowhere safe to put your money, imagine the guys. Just imagine that. Like let that settle in. What happened over the weekend was you had many, many people, some millionaires, some not millionaires, some, just with their life savings in the bank. Maybe some people exited their company for $20, $30 million and had their money in Silicon Valley Bank, right? And it's just gone overnight. Poof. Why would you not be in Bitcoin? Who's going to go poof and take your Bitcoin if you've got it on cold storage? Nobody, right? Nobody. You memorize your seed phrase and it's yours. Everything else is not yours. That's why Bitcoin was created. And these moments serve as a reminder for us to understand that. Okay, let's see what we got here. We got Sunny, Brandon, good to see you guys. Don't forget to smash up the likes while we're chilling here. Really does help the channel out. Zach, good to see you. Chin Francois. Pixel Snake, good to see you again as well, buddy. Sunny's asking for an update on Cadena. Potentially could do a video on that soon. It's all about Bitcoin right now, let's be honest. Like, even people ask me, have I lost my conviction in Phantom? No, I'm just not making videos on it right now. It's, there's more things going on that we need to monitor. It's not about altcoins right now. So why am I going to make videos about altcoins just because it gets views? You guys know the channel's more than that. I'm going to post what's relevant. And if that means I need to talk about CPI, which is going to get less clicks than me talking about Cadena or Phantom, that's just what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the stuff that matters. Gareth Soloway is the bear market version of Plan B. There's loads of them. There's loads of these bears that get clicks because they say, oh, Bitcoin's going all the way down. It's sensationalism sells, right? Sensationalism sells, and those people do not get to enjoy this moment, right? They have to sit there hiding because they shouted out 15K. And the reality is that there are other YouTubers would just go with the wind. They just could literally wake up one day if the market's down. Oh, Bitcoin's going to 8,000. When the market's green the next day, like today, they'll do a live stream saying, oh, Bitcoin's going to 100,000. That's just how it is, right? But one thing you can notice, Bitcoin dominance is going up today, right? It's a Bitcoin-led move. Money is flowing into Bitcoin, and that's what we're noticing. This is not a move towards altcoins hugely. You can see a 2% increase here in dominance today. Highlight says, why do you think the SPY is still positive after a bad start in the pre-market? Ultimately, it's good news, right? If you compare it to where we were on Friday, there was concerns about where we were going to be at, right? On Friday, you didn't know what was going on. And so for them to, come out and backstop the banks, that's positive. But at the same time, what's fearing markets is there still contagion going on? Is there still more to it than meets the eye? That's what we're going to find out over the next few days. And yeah, banking stocks are still getting hit, of course. Chile says, I'm the only person who liked this video. If you still only have 1 like by the time you read this comment, you guys are violating me. 92 of you in here, at least hit the like. Come on, man. Lefty says, appreciate the live. Appreciate you, buddy. Rex Danny, do you think there will be a pullback on BTC? There's always a pullback. There's always a pullback. It never goes straight to the moon. Anybody who tells you there's not a pullback is, chatting it. There will be a pullback. The question is, where is that pullback? So depending on what time frame you're looking at, this is very overextended now, right? So what happens is, let me give you guys a little bit of a view here. So we know that level is very important on the dominance, right? Now, similarly on Bitcoin, what's the important level? The important level is this peak here, the 25. Now, that's not just from now. That's where we got rejected here, and ultimately we got rejected here. So we got rejected 2 times from this very important line. Let's bring out our support lines. And therefore, what we need to see is I do not want to be running up to the big... Think about it like this. I'll give you an analogy. Like, let's say you're playing like a computer game or whatever, like some sort of one of those games where you have a big boss at the end. Would you rather go to the big boss at the end with no stamina, or would you rather go there having had a break and had full health, right? That's what Bitcoin's doing right now. Bitcoin's gone all the way here from 19,000 with no stop trying to go straight to 25. It's bound to want to call off at some point. So for me, I'd much rather it chill here, even come down to 23.5, collect some support, work its way, and then when it's ready with good volume, with good strength, then go clear through 25. That is what I'd rather see. Because a weak attempt like this, we're just going to get you thrown back down again. It's going to be quite frustrating. So instead, I'd much rather see it build a little bit of scaffolding. So if we're looking here on the daily chart and bring out the EMA ribbon, that's your natural way to pull back, is coming down to EMA ribbon. Do I think we're going to see that? Going to be difficult. 4 hourly shows 22,000. Again, going to be difficult. Let's now log into the hourly. And that's where I'd be looking for a pullback. If you're looking for an entry, really, maybe we'll see 23. Maybe it'll cool down a little bit into 23, collect some support, and then try to work its way through 24,000. That could be a view on the hourly chart. Chile says, yes, very overextended. Lefty says, so if the money printer turns on, does it just kick the initial problem down the road of inflation? How does this work? Yes, it just kicks the problem down the road. But that's what the US does, right? That's how the financial system is set up. If you look at this is on 10-year chart. Let me click on max, see how far it goes. This is just what they do. They kind of have moments of high and then down, moments of high and down, moments of high and down. Loosen and then tighten and then loosen and tighten. And every time you break something, then you change direction. It's like a bumper car, kind of like, or like, when you go bowling and you got the barriers up. It kind of goes, hits one barrier, goes to the other side, hits another barrier. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They just trial and error. That's how they navigate their market. So yes, you're absolutely right. More printing will create more inflation problem, right? But at the moment, the inflation is the better evil to have than crushing their banking system. So what they're going to say is he'll have to pause for a bit, chill, deep breath, and then probably rate hike again at another point, which is then the conversation of, oh no, is Bitcoin then going to take another fall later on when they decide to resume their rate hikes again? London City Randomizer, hi, smashing the likes. I remember you told us to sit on your hands for good reason in case of a recession. Do you think we might see a recession still, or is Biden delaying it after the election? Yeah, again, there could be some political hokery-pokery going on there. It feels like we're in recession anyway, and probably a little bit more to go. I mean, if you're looking at what's happening now in terms of the financial banks collapsing, this is pretty bad, right? You always want to wait for kind of these big headline things to happen, like a Lehman Brothers collapse, or in this case, SVB, Signature Bank. We're pretty much there. Whether they want to say it's a recession or not, like prices are high, unemployment's to get there, we're getting there. There could be a bit more done on the labor market. That's the bit that's still tight. Lefty says, is this an admission that they can't control inflation without breaking the banking system? Yeah, ultimately, that's what they've just proven. They can't control inflation without their banks getting greedy and collapsing, right? That's what happened. They were all searching for yield and they put it in the bonds, and that's all she wrote. Jay Reyes, mahalo. I watch your videos every day. Question, what happens when the circulating and total supply are the same numbers? That's good. If your total supply and your circulating supply are the same, that means all coins that will ever be minted are already in circulation. So that's what's going to happen to Bitcoin in whenever it is, year 2140 or something, when all the coins are in circulation. The good thing about that is there's less downward pressure on your token, so it's easier for the price to move up of those tokens. So I like tokens where it's already scarce. If 100% is already in supply, fantastic. That's scarce. It's a scarce asset. If you only have 10 chocolate bars in this room, you can put the price up of it, and you know there's no more that's going to be made, right? Like a Rolex watch, there's no more that's going to be made. Great stuff. It's rare, and therefore it's better for the price movement to the upside. The opposite is true if you have a low circulating supply percentage. Quinoa, literally USA tactics, kick the can to the next guy over and over again. Yeah, brilliant. That's good. One thing we know is whenever the US does this and they start printing and Jerome Powell takes out the money printer, let me show you guys the money printer. Let me show you that when he does this, when he's in this mode, he's our friend. Okay, so we embrace him. He's printing money, he's not hoovering money, and Bitcoin likes it. So US, keep messing up, no problem. It's good. Keep doing it, keep printing, keep stimulating the economy, right? Keep intervening because you can't help yourself. And Bitcoin will take advantage of that, which is good. That's what we want to see. Speaking of which, let's notch this down to the 5-minute chart. So we're just bouncing off the EMA ribbon here. So this is what you get, right, guys? A little bit of consolidation. You generally create a triangle. Again, if all of this is unfamiliar, ijaz.uk/TA, you could be doing this literally in hours. You can get started. This is a typical bull pennant, and you expect this to break to the upside more times than not. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed. You know you're at an important resistance level in 24. If you trade this, you want to trade it to the top of the wedge at 24,600. Let's see how this plays out over the next sort of 5 minutes. And that's how easy you set up a trade, right? Now, of course, you want to set a tight stop loss below this pivot. You put your stop loss in there at 23,859. That's how you trade, okay? Again, we go for all that, ijaz.uk/TA. If you guys are looking for an exchange, I managed to headlock Binance. I headlocked Binance for a good deal. Check out the link in the description. And I've got a bunch of merch from Binance. Ronaldo NFT t-shirt. That's the Ronaldo special. Don't know if you guys can see that. Let's see if I can get this up for you guys. Got my lights dim, that's why. That's the Binance NFT Ronaldo special. We got some nice faded t-shirts as well. I like this one. This one, I might wear one of these ones actually. This one's quite cool. Binance. There's some hats. There's some hoodies. I got some bags. We will be doing giveaways, but you've got to be using my link in the description, because if you're not using my link, you won't have a UID to enter the draw. Okay, so you've got to be using my link, even if you have a Binance account set up somewhere else. Check out the link in the description. You're going to get some special bonuses just for using my link, because I forced them to give me that link when I was in their offices. Yeah, just for you guys. Right. Let's take a look at what else you guys are saying. I think the Shara, I can't say your name, Sharavanan. I think Fed should consider to increase their target of 2% to higher. Yeah, and ultimately that's what happens, right? But they're not going to admit it. They're just, what they're going to do is they're going to go, oh yeah, but 4%'s fine, right? Ultimately that's what they're going to accept. That's what happened in the Paul Volcker times. They kind of accepted about 4 or 5% inflation for a very long time. Sherlock says, time is 14th March 2023. Jerome on brink of second bailout for banks. Sound familiar? Of course. Exactly. Do you guys think the bottom is in? Neil, I mean, to answer that question, we have to kind of answer the reverse question, which is what is the unique set of circumstances, whenever anybody asks me that, yeah? What's the unique set of circumstances that can drive us to 15,500? What could it be, right? We know that Bitcoin struggles from any liquidity crunches. So if there's any reduction of liquidity, if Jerome Powell's hoovering, if he does a 50 basis points, if he does 100 basis points, not good for crypto. If we have crypto-specific issues, right? Like, is there a stable coin that's collapsing? Is there a project that's collapsing? These things, like an FTX, that can cause pain in crypto. A deep, deep depression, maybe. But also, we've shown that crypto tends to be an antithesis in tough times like it did in the pandemic. So you have to kind of set out your stall to say, okay, for Bitcoin to get to 15,500, we were in a very tough place. There was a Russia-Ukraine war, FTX collapsed, Bitcoin had been for a long, drawn-out bear market with many companies struggling liquidity issues, inflation was out of control. All those things kind of came together to get us to there. So you have to ask yourself, can it get worse? And if you can formulate a picture, that's the picture that's going to take us there. Chile says USA is embarrassing and moving to the UK. No, you don't want to move here either. We're exactly the same as you guys. So not here. Maybe the Middle East or something. Like not here. Yeah, Sherlock said the same. Don't. The weather is awful. Shan, would you consider today the closest we've come to the pivot? So this is this is basically saying, look, we're forcing a pivot. You don't have a choice. It's almost like all this time we were respecting Jerome Powell, and we're like, Jerome Powell, you're in control of it. But then something big has happened, and now we go, Jerome Powell, you're completely irrelevant now. CPI tomorrow is, yeah, it is still relevant, but it's like far less relevant, right? Because you've just gone and broke the banks. You can't keep increasing interest rates, even if you want to punish us. Even if you want to punish us and hoover the money from the economy to bring inflation down, you can't, because you messed up and you damaged the bank. So you're going to have to pause, right? So your banking friends can get a bit of a breather. You're not doing it for us, we know that, because you still want to bring inflation down. You still want to create more unemployment. You want to put the average person out of jobs, right? So you got all that going on as well. Kavindra Singh, good morning, bro. Australia, Australia, awesome. Good to see you, Kavindra. Thanks for jumping on. Linde, what's your thoughts on TAP Global? No thoughts currently. Reckless Danny says, hell yeah. London City Randomizer says, I raided Binance. No wonder they're selling their BUSD. Good point you reminded me of. What did you know? That rant I had earlier about native crypto? What did CZ do? Always watch these people and what they do. Don't watch what they say, watch what they do. Okay, there was a tweet circulating. I'll see if I can find it and retweet it. But it told you what all the people were doing. Vitalik, these guys, CZ. CZ just transferred $1 billion from stablecoins into Bitcoin Ethereum. Right? He's saying, I don't trust these stablecoins. Why? Think about it. Play the steps ahead. What did we just see from Circle for USDC? USDC didn't have any issues. It's the fact that they put their reserves in a US bank. Right? So you need to look for alternatives. And that's why people are reminding themselves, why am I sat on my life savings sat in USDC? What is the meaning of USDC? It's a centralized company backing this one-to-one. But their money's in a bank which can collapse at any moment in time. Right? Are you following, guys? That's why we remind ourselves that not your keys, not your crypto. And in tough markets like this, it's never more true. Corey says, as long as we do the opposite of the mainstream narratives, we're good. Exactly. Exactly. You've got to have a contrarian mindset, not just to be contrarian for the sake of it, but to actually criticize what they're trying to force you to believe. Because often the truth is there. What they want you to believe is often not the case, right? Sherlock says alt season is next. Reckless Danny says, you have any sweaters? Yes, there are jumpers, there are hoodies, there are all sorts here. Even got a 1 of 300 Binance ring. Let's see if I can find out for you guys. I got told that this is like 1 in 300. It's here somewhere. But there's a ring. There's a Binance ring, right? And it's 1 in 200. I'm probably going to give that away. But that's going to be to somebody serious who's actually supporting the channel. Engage with the links in the description, using those. And that way I'll be able to give you guys that. It's a Binance ring. So obviously you've got to be using the Binance link. Ijaz, why does the market think there's a pivot? Yes, the system broke, but they just made it so banks can fail, but deposits will be insured no matter what. Why can't they continue hiking in this case? Because what happened is they've just got a precursor. They just got a precursor of what's going on at banks. They just had a taste on Friday of the 18th biggest bank in the US facing some issues. And they would have done some digging over the weekend. And they would have realized this is not the only one. I shared a couple on Twitter of other banks which are facing similar problems. And they would have gone through that and gone, we can save Signature and we can save Silicon Valley Bank with the depositors with 25 billion. But what if something happened to a bigger bank? What if something happened to one of the top 10 banks? Right? We'd have to be printing loads. So that's why they got to stop doing this rate hikes to look at it and say, what's going on? What's causing the problems? Now, if the issue wasn't directly caused by the rate hikes, then it's different. But it is. It's directly caused by the rate hikes. It's the rate hikes that led the government bond yield to go up. The price of the bond went down. And therefore, the face value of the asset, which they show on their balance sheet, shows that they're upside down. CRN Imoz says we are overbought. Yes, be very careful on the short-term time frames. You will get overbought. There you go. You can see that on the RSI. Indeed, just be very careful. That's why you would expect at some point a little bit of a cooling down. I'm fine with this breaking down, coming down here, working its way. I'm happy with that. That's how you do it. Ups and downs, peaks and troughs. but keep it uptrending, higher highs, higher lows. That's what we need right now. Sure, banks failed, but they're guaranteeing deposits. Can't they just continue to hike for inflation control? Nope, as I've just explained, nope, because it's affecting their bond yields, and banks hold US treasuries. So if the yield goes to, it was already at 4%, if it goes to 5%, 6%, 7%, it's just going to make them more upside down, because the way it works is as yield goes up on your US 10-year, the price of the bond goes down. So the thing you're holding on your balance sheet goes down, which messes up your capital requirement ratios. So if there was a bank run on those banks, they don't have the money today. They're like, oh, I need to hold this bond till it matures in 10 years before I have the money. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, just nudge me and I'll talk about it slowly instead of speeding through it. It'd be interesting to see how the BTC halving and the can-kicked inflation become more aligned. Wonder what that will look like. You'll have a Hoover and a bullish move linking up. Yes, potentially. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a proper, like, you know, this is exciting now because, yes, they could potentially be pausing and they're getting a bit soft, right? That's why the market's creating some euphoria. But like you're all pointing out, we're not out of the woods. Inflation is still there, right? Inflation is still there and it's still an issue. Speaking of not out of the woods, please, I just want to remind you guys, our weekly EMA ribbon is not reclaimed yet, okay? So we do need to reclaim that before, like, we can get party balloons and all that good stuff, yeah? But we're still, the bears are still in control, even though it doesn't feel like it right now. But it's right for the markets to be excited, and that is because of the shift. That is because of the shift in mentality. It's because of them bailing out these banks, doing something which is accommodative. Now, what's the risks? Will Jerome Powell come out and do 50 basis points on March 22nd? Very unlikely, right? What would the scenario need to look like for that to happen? For Jerome Powell to get away with doing 50 basis points, we need a horrible inflation figure tomorrow. But look at this, by the way, guys. Literally 35% of the market is now saying, just pause, mate. Just pause. I'm pricing it in, just pause. Crazy. It's changing literally every minute I refresh it, it's changing. To think that the market was pricing in 50 basis points days ago, just days ago, we've been covering it off. Insane. That's the shift. That's the fundamental shift. So in order for him to do 50 basis points, it'll need to be like crazy high inflation. Maybe he's had a word from some of his colleagues to say, oh, not many banks are suffering. But I don't believe it. I don't believe that's going to happen. Lefty, does Binance US count? Nope, just the Binance link in my description, unfortunately. Kieran, appreciate your time. Have you had a chance to look into BACS and BAB? No, I haven't just yet, buddy. I will do at some point. Has a Swift code. I keep mentioning it. Worth a deep dive. JH, does the new banking crisis mean easy policy is a definite now? US mortgage rates are falling lots today. If so, does it follow that risk is on again? Yeah. Like, if they decide to pause, and then if they decide to create a plan for reducing, that is overall risk on. And I'll show you this on the Fed Watch tool. So on the Fed Watch tool, let me just refresh it because it's changing every minute. So what this does is, if it wants to load, is we can click here on the 13th of December. Okay, so I can click on the end of December. Now what you can see here is by the end of December, the majority of the market sits in between these three buckets. So between 3.75 and 4.25. In other words, the majority of the market see us at a lower Fed funds rate at the end of the year than we are now. Now, Jerome Powell said, a couple of weeks ago, we're not getting any rate cuts this year. Well, that's not what the market's saying. Market is saying at least 1, 2, maybe even 3 sets of 25 basis point cuts to the downside. So they're pricing in some cuts. Now, that is bullish. That's risk on. That's bad for dollar index, good for Bitcoin, bad for US 10-year, yields go down, good for Bitcoin, good for risk on stocks in the NASDAQ as well. Ian says, is the bank term funding plan acronym BTFP same as buy the effing pivot an accident, or does someone think that they are funny? Maybe they're just, I noticed that as well. I was like, maybe they're just being, they're laughing with themselves. Okay, let's take a look here. 5 minute, getting a breakout from this triangle. We'll need to break. Always look to the left at a pivot point. You're literally getting a live trading lesson here, guys. Completely free here on YouTube. Do smash up the likes, good guys. Many more of you here than likes, which is always a bad ratio. So you're going to get a little bit of resistance at this point, and then a little bit at 24,300 here on the 5 minute chart. JH, love these live streams, by the way. Only this is sometimes work prevents me from joining in, but appreciate you doing this. Yeah, appreciate it, JH. I struggle with live streams as well. I mean, obviously, it's so much, you got to do so much research to pump out the videos that I'm pumping out, and then every so often, it's good just to jump on and chill with you guys with no agenda to kind of go through anything. But 3 videos today, another one coming out for CPI later today. Make sure you guys watch that CPI video. Neil shouting out Cadena. Chile says the hikes made SVB collapse because they were sat in a horrible bond position. Yes, that's correct. Licker says approaching a new financial crisis. How many banks are in trouble? Guys, if you go back to the end of last year, there were videos where I said, guys, this is going to be horrible. Like, and I said not normal recession, like global financial crisis level. I said that, like 2008, 2009. Now, I don't think we're quite at 2008, 2009 levels. I think we've learned a lot of lessons through that global financial crisis. But at the same time, we haven't learned any whatsoever. When I say we, I say America and the US banking system and the UK and Europe, right? Yes, they're slightly better in terms of better capital ratios on their balance sheet, but the same bad practices continue to happen. And by the way, I've pointed out that we're not immune to those. Because we accept some of these mavericks from traditional finance into crypto, we saw some of that play out with Celsius, Voyager, BlockFi, FTX. We've got to keep these guys away. The people who build our crypto projects have to be crypto through and through. It needs to be decentralized, it needs to be open source, it needs to be immutable. And if they're speaking a different language where everything for them is about profit and trying to do things in a centralized way, just keep them to the side. They can be fintech, right? They're not crypto. And I think it's important we create that differentiation because we've been stung too many times by centralized crypto people who care about crypto. No, they're lobbying the governments to put in the regulations they want that suits them so that they can do what they want to do. Use Silicon Valley Bank as an example. Silicon Valley Bank chose, right? They wanted to have less regulations. They asked for less regulations because it's less stringent. They wanted to create risky loans to startup companies. And the US won that, right? The US sits there sitting on its moral high horse of, oh, we are the best companies. We have the best tech companies in the world. That's because you've got banks recklessly funding startups with no hope, throwing millions of dollars at them. Obviously, one of them's going to succeed. Obviously, you're going to get one Facebook and one Snapchat when you're loaning all these startup companies billions of dollars, which you're backstopping by the taxpayers' money, right? It's not true capitalism, is it? You're backing it with the taxpayers' money. So yeah, easy to sit on their moral high horse, isn't it? Kieran says, absolutely criminal how few people are tuned in. Oh, appreciate that, Kieran. Don't worry about it. As long as we're covering off the good stuff, that's all that matters. Jay, really appreciate you. You said, thanks for answering my question. One more. What's your take on Ali? I don't have a huge view on Ali. I've seen a few people. I'm assuming that's one of the artificial intelligence ploys. Let me take a look at CoinMarketCap. To jog my memory. Pretty sure it's artificial intelligence. In the meantime, let's see what else we got. You should make merch. I'll design merch for you, dude. Appreciate what you do. Appreciate you, Kieran. Feel free to drop some designs in Discord or something, and we can take a look at that. I do want to get some merch done as well. Is there 2 Alis? Is that why I'm getting confused? Yeah, I'm thinking you're meaning this one, artificial liquid intelligence. Let me know, Jay. You don't have to send a super chat, but just send me it. I'll see your message. But yeah, anyway, if it is about AI, like I'm not on AI right now. I feel like it had its hype. GBP USD is up 3% in the last 4 days, so your crypto is worth more anyway. Yeah, exactly. Chillis, Dixie Dump is nice. Yep. Volume divergence says far. Let's take a look at the volume divergence. Yep, on the 5 hourly we are getting a little bit of a calling off, but interesting. I do expect this to come down and call off a little bit. If it doesn't, that'll be a nice little move up here. But I don't want it to go straight for 25. That's the problem. I sound like a little spoiled baby, but I just don't want it to mount an attack at 25 yet. I'd much rather us have a couple of, maybe 2 hours of calling off and then a move to the upside. Highlight says, thanks a lot for your daily updates. You made a great job of navigating the market, not putting you on a pedestal. Much love. Appreciate you. And definitely don't put me on a pedestal. Always push me down first. If I become one of those moon boys, you make sure you check me. I'm not going to anyway. It's not going to happen. I'm fortunate enough that I don't live off YouTube, so I don't have to promote these videos which just kind of are aimed at going viral without teaching you guys. I'm here to teach, really, and share my research. And if that's useful to people, fantastic. And I don't care if it's 5 people, if it's 2 people. If 2 people watch my videos and find it useful, brilliant, right? Because I was going to do the research for my portfolio anyway. I'm just sharing it with you guys. Puneet says, are we expecting BTC to reach back to 25k? It looks like it. It looks like we should be able to get a nice move towards 25k. The more pertinent question is, can we breach 25k and finally get above it? That is the level which is the bane of our existence. We tried a couple of times in Feb, got rejected all the way back down to 19,500. Can we go with volume, with strength, with momentum on our side, and CPI reading which comes in our favor could be the catalyst. I'm going to post a video later today explaining exactly that. Can the CPI push us past 25? So make sure you stay tuned for that as well. Let's do a couple more questions before I jump off, guys. So feel free to drop your questions, and I will try to cover as many off before I jump off. Do you think lower lows are possible? It looks like we've got a higher low, if anything. I'm looking at this weekly chart, and I'm trying to focus on the fact that, if anything, we're creating higher lows here. We've got this low here, and now what we've just done with that doji candle is try to form a higher low. So this is quite good in terms of a weekly chart, uptrending. Corey says, I'm thinking we're going to get a super blast off on March the 22nd when Powell doesn't do a 50-point rate hike. No looking back from there. Just remember, Corey, the market already prices things in. So for you to get a super blast off, the market's got to have something which is not expecting. So if we had the FOMC meeting tomorrow and we had a pause, I think we would get blast off. We would get a good green day because only 35% of the market has priced it in. But the thing that could happen is after CPI tomorrow, depending on which way it goes, more of the market can start to price in a pause. And so that green could come between now and March the 22nd. So a lot of people wait for March 22nd to get a pause and then wonder why the market's dumping. It's because it's going to price it in now. It's going to price it in before because markets want to front run each other. Okay, very important. You guys are raking in the questions. I'm trying to keep up with you guys. Tech says, the bank in my country in Slovenia doesn't give me a loan because I invest in crypto. Why is that? That's very normal. Happens in a lot of places. They are jealous indeed. But, you know, there are decentralized ways through crypto you can take out loans, but I don't encourage it. Why do you need a loan? Just go, don't take out loans. Bad for you. Yeah, exactly. Renduan said never invest with loan money. Chillis says, I meant to say he appreciates your super chat, but you don't have to send them. Yep. Bless you, bro. Very nice work, says Jose. Just became a subscriber. Appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a subscriber. Anybody who's not subscribed, hit up the sub button. If my content gets worse, just unsubscribe, but I feel like I can earn your sub, so give me a chance. Reckless says true transparency. Chiller says welcome to the shrimp fam. Shrimp fam. That was funny. Whose is a shrimp fam? If you have less than 0.1 of a Bitcoin, shrimp fam. Put shrimp fam in the chat if you're a shrimp fam. But it's fine. We'll become whales one day. You have to start as shrimp and you grow your way to becoming a whale. Curtis says, when there's a lot of volatility in the market like this, is it better to trade or wait for things to calm down? Okay, so as a trader, it depends on your time frame, but as a trader, volatility is your friend, okay? But volatility is only your friend if you have good risk management. So you got a 9% spot day here on Bitcoin. Now the question is, how much of that 9% in the day were you able to capture, right? If you had a boring day where it's a 1% day, it's much harder to trade that market. So volatility is your friend. Do not FOMO into green, wait for pullbacks. And a perfect example is waiting for things to come into the EMA ribbon. And depending on what indicators you're using, there's a lot of different strategies you can use. Again, TA course, ijaz.uk/TA, and you can pick up some trading skills in there. Can we have a poll on will XRP win the court case? Yes, we can. We can have a poll. Let's see. Start a poll. Not that this is a proper XRP community, but will XRP win court case? Ask your community. Go for it, guys. Vote for that. True transparency. Like it says, are we pumping into the 200 moving average? I'm assuming you're meaning on the daily chart. Let's take a look. I can pull up the 200 moving average. We're bouncing off of it. Very nice. Very nice bounce off of it. Look at that. Who says technical analysis doesn't work? We claimed our 200 moving average, went above it, came back down, retested it, boom, off we go. And look at this, guys. What do you notice here? This is a bullish golden cross. 50 moving average crosses over the 200 moving average. We cover this on the TA course. This is a bullish sign as well. So things are starting to look on the mend. Again, Don't FOMO, don't be greedy, stay patient. You know, if you're feeling a bit of FOMO, just do a little nibble. That way you did a little buying today. I did a little buying today, nothing major. I just nibbled a bit because I felt a bit of FOMO. I'm human, right? Bit of FOMO. Oh, I'll buy a little bit more Bitcoin at 20, whatever it was, 23,000 or whatever it was. Right, good. Nothing major. Not going to change my portfolio hugely. It just meant it felt like I did something, because otherwise you get this itch and you do something silly. Devinas, do you use trend-based Fibonacci a lot? I don't use Fibonacci too much, but I find them useful, particularly on longer time frames. So less on short term, more on longer term time frames. Ijaz, why is Bitcoin pricing in no hikes and upside, yet SPY and NASDAQ has barely moved? I wouldn't say that. So Bitcoin's moving, but if you look at the traditional markets, NASDAQ, when we last checked here, was up 1.5%. Let me just check that again, make sure I'm not wrong. It's just cooling off a little bit. It was up 1.4, 1.5%. It is cooling off down here now a little bit. Now, the reason for this is that they're a little bit confused, right? You have got CPI tomorrow, but there's still a lot of contagion risk. Traditional finance in a bit of a pickle. It's not good that banks have fallen. Bitcoin has the benefit of being the antithesis to the banking system. So this is where Bitcoin has a duality. I've spoken about this a lot. Sometimes it just acts like a risk on asset, and other times it decouples. And that's why I spoke about at the beginning of this live stream. We could soon see a decoupling, right? I'm not advertising no necklaces here, mate. We could see a decoupling. And that's when things can get interesting. Traditional finance can't do that. The NASDAQ can't do that. Okay? Jay, you have the right, Ali. Good stuff. Cool. Yeah, without artificial, I would just be a little bit patient with artificial AI plays right now. I felt like he had a lot of run. People are just, they're kind of memeing it almost. They're making, people just, I know that YouTubers, for example, are just making AI videos because they're getting a lot of views. And right now I'll be focused on eating my veg. Bitcoin, Ethereum, some layer 1 solutions, and seeing how things play out from there. It's a volatile period. I said that. Okay, I said that when we're going into 2023, expect crazy volatility. Very stop, very start. Like now with the light is green, don't be surprised to see a red light in a couple of days. And we're back again, thrown violently back to the backside again. Be patient, right? Don't be sensationalist. Be patient, be calm. If it's a really good day, don't overreact. Enjoy it, but don't overreact. If it's a bad day, don't panic cry. Just be like, okay, it is what it is. I want to look at my portfolio, go for a walk. And that's your way to navigate through 2023. So for me, it's a year of accumulation. Now, with what we're seeing, we might get that rate hike coming in, the rate pause coming in a little bit sooner. And that's going to be fantastic if we see that, right? Lynn, thank you so much for dropping in a super chat. You guys don't have to do that, but it's very kind. Do appreciate it. It doesn't go unnoticed. And any money you guys put in here will go back to running the channel, right? Getting better equipment, better cameras, stuff for you guys. Ian says, I went with Ocean for my only AI play, picks and shovels after all. Good thinking. If you are going to play in a narrative, try to focus on the picks and shovels. That's a very good methodology. If you can't pick the certain project, pick the foundations from which they're going to build on, the architectural plays. So let's see the result of the poll. 73%, 74% says XRP will win the court. Very interesting. I'll just go ahead and end that poll. Cool. If you guys have any burning questions, shout them out right now or forever hold your peace. The CPI video will be coming out. Make sure you go watch that. CPI video will be coming out any moment now. Make sure you go watch the videos from earlier today as well. I do just want to leave you by showing you this. I want to see us hold 24 and work our way. If it does want to come down to 23, that's fine, because what I'm looking at is the hourly chart, looking at the EMA ribbon. If it does want to come like to this kind of level at 23,000, it's okay. Right? It's okay if it does that. It's not the end of the world if it wants to come down here. That's a nice little dip. And then go push with energy towards 25. Okay? Cool. Hope you guys found this live stream useful. If you do find the live streams useful, you got to let me know. You got to let me know in the comments so we can do more of these impromptu ones